Hi. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will show you how to communicate between OpenPLC and Node-RED using Modbus. This example demonstrates reading and writing coil registers and reading holding register values from the counter up. Let's get started. This is the official OpenPLC website. Please go to the download page to download the OpenPLC editor, which is used to create and edit PLC programs. Choose the version that matches your operating system. In this tutorial, I will install it on Windows. After the installation is complete, open the OpenPLC editor and create a new project. Before creating the latter program, I will first define the list of tags that we will use. These include the start relay and downtime relay, which are triggered from Node-RED. The start state and downtime state are outputs that will be read by Node-RED. There are also a trigger button and a counter reset coming from Node-RED, as well as a register to store the counter value, or CTU. Let's start creating the ladder diagram. In the first rung, add a normally open relay contact. Set this contact to the start relay, which will be controlled from Node-RED. Then add an output coil and set it as the start state. This means when the start relay is on, the start state output will turn on. Next, the second rung is used to control the downtime coil. We apply the same logic using the downtime relay and the downtime state. Please note that I am not using a physical input contact, since this is a software PLC. Instead, the coil register written by Node-RED is used as the input contact. When using a physical PLC, you can replace this coil-based input with the actual input address that matches the available PLC inputs. Next, we can add comments to each rung that we create. The purpose of these comments is to explain the function of each rung, making the latter program easier to understand, maintain, and troubleshoot in the future. Next, in the following rung, I will add a counter trigger input relay that is controlled by Node-RED to increment the counter. This relay is then connected to an R_trig block and an output coil named pulse counter. The pulse counter variable will later be used as the trigger input for the CTU block. Our trig block detects the transition from off to on and outputs a one-shot pulse. This prevents the counter from incrementing continuously when the signal remains on. In the next rung, I add a contact from the pulse counter output coil created in the previous rung. This contact is connected to a CTU block to perform the count-up operation. The counter value is stored in a holding register called counter value, which will later be read by Node-RED. Don't forget to set the PV, or preset value, for the reset we will configure later. Next, add the pulse counter contact again in the following rung and connect it to an output coil trigger counter. This rung is used to reset the trigger counter coil. The purpose is to clear the coil state so it can be activated again by Node-RED. In the next rung, add a reset counter contact, which will be controlled by Node-RED. This contact is connected to an R-trig block to generate a single pulse when the reset signal turns on. Then add an output coil named pulse reset. This pulse reset signal will later be used to reset the CTU or counter up block, ensuring the counter is reset only once per reset command. Next, in the CTU block, set the pulse reset signal as the trigger for the R or reset input to reset the counter. Then create another rung and add the pulse reset contact to reset the trigger reset coil that was previously activated by Node-RED. This brings the coil state back to false, ensuring it is ready to be activated again by Node-RED for the next reset command. After finishing, don't forget to save the file and save the project. Next, compile the project so it is ready to be used in the runtime application. Make sure there are no errors during the compilation process. At the end of the compile step, you will see the location of the generated output files, which will be used by the OpenPLC Runtime. The next step is installing the OpenPLC Runtime. In this video, I will install it on a Debian Linux operating system. The first step is system preparation. This step updates the system packages and installs the required dependencies, including development tools, build utilities, Git, and Python. These components are necessary to build, install, and run the OpenPLC runtime properly on the system. Next, we clone the OpenPLC runtime from GitHub. In this video, I am using OpenPLC version 3, not version 4, and then navigate into the project directory. The next step is running the installer. After navigating to the OpenPLC version 3 directory, we start the installation process by executing the installation script. This script will automatically compile the source code, install all required components, and configure the OpenPLC runtime on the system. During this process, several packages will be built from source, so it may take a longer time to complete, depending on your hardware and system performance. Please be patient and wait until the installation process finishes successfully before moving on to the next step. After installation, run the start script to launch the OpenPLC service. And wait until it shows that the service is running on port 8080. At this point, the runtime is ready to use. Next, open a web browser and access the IP address with port 8080. On the login page, enter the username OpenPLC and the default password OpenPLC. After logging in, on the user page, you can change the password and add new users. Next, to upload the program, go to the Programs page. Click the Choose File button and select the file with the .st extension. Make sure the file location matches the project output directory shown during the compile process on OpenPLC Editor. Click Upload Program and wait until the program compilation is completed. Once the compilation is finished, click the Start PLC button to run the program on the OpenPLC Runtime. On the Settings page, you can find important connection information, including the host name and the port used for Modbus communication. After the compilation is complete and the PLC is started, the status will change to running. Go to the Monitoring page, where you can see all the tags that were defined in the OpenPLC editor, including the holding register that displays the counter value. From the Monitoring page, you can also manually force each coil to true or false. This allows you to test and verify that the program logic is working as expected before connecting it to external systems such as Node-RED. Here is the Node-RED flow that I have created. I use switch nodes to turn on the coils for both the start relay and the downtime relay. These switch nodes are connected to Modbus write nodes to write to the coil registers. Make sure the addresses are configured correctly, including the host name and port settings used for the Modbus connection. To display the results of reading the Modbus coils for the start state and downtime state, I use LED nodes. To increment the counter and reset the counter, I use button nodes to write to the Modbus coils. I also read the Modbus holding register and display the counter value using a text node. This is the Node-RED dashboard that communicates with OpenPLC. Using this dashboard, we can control the start and downtime relays through the switches, and their current states are shown by the LED indicators. We can also trigger and reset the counter using the buttons, while the counter value is read from the holding register and displayed on the dashboard. Any changes made in Node-RED will be reflected on the OpenPLC Runtime monitoring page, including the coil states and the counter value, allowing us to verify that the communication is working correctly. That's all for this tutorial on communication between OpenPLC and Node-RED using Modbus. I hope this video helps you understand the basic workflow and integration. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.